Hello and welcome to week 7. And in this week we are going to prepare for our midterm project. We won't have anything due this week, but the tutorials I'm going to make this week will prepare us for our midterm. And our midterm is going to build on the snowman project, where you've created a snowman and animate a snowman. And our midterm is basically we're going to create a snow globe and try to render out a high quality animation, 5 to 10 seconds of the snowman waving, but we're going to render it. We're going to texture it. We're going to put some lights and shadows in there and make it look really good, and use some more advanced rendering techniques. And that's the goal for the next 2 weeks, is to make a kind of a much higher quality animation of what we've already done. So there's a lot to learn with regards to rendering this week, and we're going to pick up some other things on the way. If I can, I want to get to particles, do a very short intro to particle systems so we can make some snow. What else? That's and go over some of the rendering options we have. So let's get started. Let's first thing we want to do is to create a snow globe, and I'm going to show you how I would go about doing it. If you want to use techniques that you already know from polygonal modeling, that's fine, but I wanted to show you how I would create the base of our snow globe with maybe a NURBS surface. And I have not gone into NURBS. Everything we've created so far have been polygonal primitives. This week I want to introduce some NURBS primitive models. NURBS are non-uniform rational B-spline. Basically, it's using mathematical formulas to create the curves of the objects, and usually they're a little bit more organic, and you texture them differently. There's a lot of differences, uniquenesses. So I'm not going in depth about the different types, but I will show you one cool thing you can do, and that's a revolve. So let's get started. If this will close out, and I'm going to go to the side view. And a revolve is essentially making a curve or a shape that exists as a profile, and then taking that and revolving it around its pivot point, kind of like a lathe. And it makes if any of you work with a lathe, you can create things like baseball bats or things that are symmetrical how would you say that? Radially symmetric. So things like cylinders or baseball bats, or I'm trying to think of something, tops, a hat, top hat. But let me show you. Maybe it will make a little bit more sense. So we're going to go into create, and there are two different types of curve tools. I'm just going to pick the top CV curve tool, and I'm going to say the origin is the center around which I want to revolve. So I'm going to create the base of our snow globe here. I'm just going to make a little lip at the bottom, come up straight, and a little lip at the top, and kind of close it off. And this is the radius. So let's zoom in here. I'm going to click and double click. Nothing's happened yet. I see these straight lines, but on the fourth click you'll actually start seeing the curve. And when you're working with these curve tools, you'll notice that if you have points close together, you're much more likely to get a sharper corner. So if I want to go up, and I'll put 3 points there to make kind of a sharp corner, and I'll have another a lip out here, and then I'm just going to go in and 3 points here and then just down. So that's the profile of the shape I want to create, and then that's going to be revolved around the pivot point here. But before I do, I'm going to right click and go to a context menu, and I'm going to begin just tweaking this a little bit. I'm scaling these in so it's a little more regular. I wanted to line these up as well and maybe flatten these out on top. And I'm just using the scale tool to kind of flatten these out. Maybe not that much. I want these flat, but not, maybe I can pull that one down. And I kind of like to make the bottom one a little heavier than the top. That's okay that it slants down a little bit. I could pull it up a hair. Alright, I'm satisfied with that. To me, I think that's a little bit close to the pivot point, so I'm going to take the object and move it out a bit, and then hit the home key and hit X to snap back to the origin. Okay, and I've done the hardest part, and now to revolve this around its origin, there's a tool in surfaces. So if you go to from the polygon to surfaces menu, and you go to edit, you go to surfaces and revolve. And if I did things correctly, it should just take that and revolve around its pivot point. And I'm going to hit the 5, so there you go. So that's all I'm going to do in this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'm going to make a little mini snow plane, kind of like what we did earlier when we were doing the sculpt geometry tool. We're going to create some snow mounds in there, and then we'll bring our snowman in. Eventually we'll create a glass dome as well. But that's it for this tutorial, and I hope you will join us in the next one to create the snow plane.